Throughout history, people going off to war have left people behind: spouses, children, parents, siblings. Today, an increased dependence on National Guard and reserve forces means families who never much expected loved ones to be deployed are having to do without them.
When a soldier or airman gets mobilized, then the spouse at home is left taking the full responsibilities where they may not have been used to doing that before.
For some, the hardships of separation are purely emotional. For others, including small business owners and contractors, the absence of mom or dad, or in some cases both, is financially stressful.
I know of a lot of soldiers that, they had to shut their business down. They lost everything.
On this edition of Stateline, the story of one of the most important battles of the war. A battle fought by accidental business owners, temporarily single parents, and their children. A battle called Operation Homefront.
Shortly after 2001, the op tempo of the National Guard has significantly increased. And so, whereas, traditionally National Guard has been 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the summer, and that is no longer true.
I knew probably November of '04 that there was a good chance I was going to Iraq, and started kind of preparing the family for it. My husband was already over there, so I went and joined him basically.
I was supportive of it. I knew that's something that she wanted to do, and that's why you're in the military, to serve your country.
This is the military, and this is the kind of job you do. So you look forward to those times in which you can serve your country.
I was praying for God to take care of it, just to bring him home to us, because they were walking away from us with guns strapped to their shoulders.
This is our first actual deployment with us being married, so with the kids. Even before I found out I was pregnant with this one, with the other two, I was nervous.
My wife, that was a lot of sacrifice for her. She said, she felt like she had been mobilized, and she had. She probably had, a tougher time than I did.
They are the unsung heroes of any military operation. Families left behind to run homes and businesses while a loved one is away serving his or her country. Oklahoma is sending more than its share of soldiers to fight the war on terror, and that means the state has lots of families manning their posts on the home front. What is life like for these families? How do they cope? Stateline found many faring pretty well, thanks to support not only from the military, but from neighbors and from each other. Martha Hendrickson is a native Oklahoman. She and her husband have been in the military reserves nearly 25 years. But when this staff sergeant wasn't serving 2 weekends a month and 2 weeks a year, she was a mom and a small business owner.
My business is called Bloom & Sweets of Oklahoma City, and we do cookie and candy arrangements, gift baskets, and other gift items. Came across this opportunity and already established business and bought this and incorporated my gift baskets in with cookie and candy arrangements. When I bought the business, one of the questions the loan officer asked me was, what will you do if you're activated? And I told her then, I said, well, to be honest, I don't know. But I had talked to the family about it. I knew they would back me up. So I went ahead and bought. But it was still a big step to get a pretty large loan and really get into where I knew it was sink or swim. This was it. I wasn't going to be able to back out of it once I signed the papers.
Martha's husband was already serving in Iraq when she bought her new business. 1 year after she signed on the dotted line, Martha found out she would be joining him.
Got the call saying that she could possibly be going over, and what was I really going to do do when it came to push and shove, you know, when it came down to the actual time to do it. And in my head I go, huh, are you serious? But I knew that I had said I would do it, so you don't back out on something that you say you do, especially with family.
Martha's daughters were just 18 and 20 when they had to step in and run their mother's business.
It was challenging, going from having all the bills and everything paid for you and pretty much being pampered teenager to here you go, here's the checkbook, here's everything, learn it and do it.
On top of helping to run Bloomin' Sweets, Kelli had a new baby to care for. Laura had to quit her job at a car dealership and delay plans for college.
This one goes over to about 119th and West Virginia. I was just worried about being in over my head. I didn't know that. I'd never had any experience in the business side of, you know, being an entrepreneur.
Martha had just 1 month to show her daughters how to man the helm before leaving them alone to sink or swim for a year.
It kicks you into being an adult very quickly. Very quickly. It was, okay, you had your teenage years, they're over, welcome to adulthood. It was, yeah, it was crazy. Good job, it looks good.
Martha's family is one of thousands coping with a loved one's absence in Oklahoma. It's a challenge with which the military sympathizes.
Everyone normally falls into certain roles in the home. Someone takes out the trash, someone takes care of the finances, someone takes the children to the baseball games. And so when a soldier or airman gets mobilized, then the spouse at home is left taking the full responsibilities where they may not have been used to doing that before. So that change, you know, creates, you know, challenges and turmoil in the homes.
A lot of soldiers were going through divorces, and I've seen statistics. I don't have them at hand, but I know for officers it's been much higher than the general population, and the military in general. With all the deployments, it's been higher than the general population. It obviously produces a lot of stress.
During my deployments, a lot of things had transpired. A lot of things that I can't necessarily do anything about on my deployment, but luckily my wife was allowed. She transferred that information to me so that I at least knew what was going on. And people deal with that differently. I've seen soldiers who, while they're on their phone talking to their spouse, they just get outright upset because something is happening at home and they have no control over it. And it sometimes is harder for a soldier to think about.
First Lieutenant Lewis Sturgeon spent 1 year in Iraq with the National Guard. While he was away, his wife Sonia was essentially a single parent to their 4 children.
You have 2 choices when you have a spouse that's deployed. You can either make it a good experience or you can make it a bad experience. And we chose as a family to make it as positive an experience as we could for us and for our children. And that's the only way that we could survive that. What I was not prepared for was the reaction of his children that we had custody of, that lived with us. We had a son, Matthew, who went from almost, you know, math was his favorite subject, went from making A's in math to F's within a matter of weeks, that was just his way of dealing with what happened. When you're a military spouse, I mean, that's always, especially National Guard, because this is not something that we do all the time. When you're active Army or Air Force, it's a little bit different.
Heather Farringer's husband is active military. The 2 met when they were both in the Navy. But after they married, Heather left the military to be a full-time mom. The couple had 2 children, Jack Jr. and Caitlin, when they received word Jack Sr. would go to the Persian Gulf.
It was hard going from, you know, having him there pretty much every day except for duty days where he had to stay on the ship, to just being me and the kids, and stuff, but yeah. And then, of course, being pregnant added to it, because it's like, okay, now I'm going to have a 3rd one I'm going to have to take care of, too.
Heather found out she was pregnant with Adam just before her husband shipped out.
In Virginia, I had friends, but I didn't have any family that, up there. So I was like, well, I need to move closer to family.
Is it pretty good? Huh?
And that's how this little military family found itself in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, home of Jack's family and now the birthplace of little Adam Farringer.
We asked them if they'd like to come and stay with us, and we love having the grandkids and Heather around. So it's fun, and it's a blessing to have them here.
Do you think spouses of people, men or women, who are deployed really need the help of extended family to make it?
I do, especially if there's children involved. So, I mean, if a lot of times I don't want to say for people that don't have kids, it's not as hard. But when you have kids involved, it's a lot harder because they'll want, mom or dad who's away. So, and ask for them and stuff. So, with having other family members there to kind of distract away from, mom or dad not being there helps.
The Oklahoma family members who come to the aid of military spouses and children are playing a crucial role in the war on terror.
If they can't leave here knowing that their families are going to be taken care of and that there's a support system out there for them and that there are resources for them to go to if they need help, they can't focus on the mission that they are required to do, and either they can get hurt or someone else can get hurt because they're worried about what's going on at home. Deployments have become a way of life for us, as we've all found, and dealing with them is not easy. However, coping with deployments...
Sonia Brumfield believes so much in the power of support that she's leaving a job she's held for 23 years at Oklahoma State University to work for the National Guard's Family Readiness Program, which Major Shane Iverson oversees.
Every different family deals with it differently. Some deal with it very well. In fact, it's amazed me. Some families, their resiliency with which they deal with it and look at it, and I've seen spouses, their husband mobilizes numerous times and they just take it so well. It amazes me. Others, it's a significant challenge, and so it covers the whole spectrum.
As we've seen, coping with absent husbands, wives, or parents presents an array of challenges to those left behind. Their success in meeting these challenges is of great personal and sometimes national consequence. It's one thing to say, we decided to make this experience a positive one. It is another to make it happen.
Did your service affect your personal life, your marriage?
It did. Ultimately ended up getting divorced, and that was a factor in it.
They were walking away from us with guns strapped to their shoulders. Wait a minute.
You want me to run your business while you're gone? Why don't you just stay here and do it yourself? We don't want you to go. It gets hard because they'll get upset, and if mom disciplines them, they say, I want dad, and of course he's not here.
I know of a lot of soldiers that, they had to shut their business down. They lost everything. Or if they're lower ranking, they don't make as much money as they were, and there's a lot of them hurting in some ways.
The issue that I saw with many of my soldiers is those who were independent contractors and used to a certain amount of either monthly income or yearly income, and now they've even either taken a pay cut, especially like the independent contractors, those who own their own businesses. They lose a lot because they don't have any way to recuperate that kind of money, as well as business that they lose while they're gone.
John Vittitow is an attorney in Norman. He's also a captain with the Army Reserve JAG Corps. In October of 2004, he was called to serve at Fort Sill to replace Army lawyers sent to Iraq. This meant he had to close down his law practice for 1 year. He does have a positive outlook and does not regret his service, but he's been struggling to resurrect his business since returning home.
It's been tough because, you can't just turn it on and off like a light switch. So I'm slowly but surely building back, and I'm going to have to wait till the new Yellow Book comes out or something to get some advertising out there. Fortunately, I was able to get my old phone numbers back because they hold them for about a year before they give them out, and that has been a lifesaver because I did get some call traffic from those old numbers. I'm surviving, but it's you know, day by day.
If it weren't for her family, Staff Sergeant Martha Hendrickson's business wouldn't even be surviving. But thanks to her daughters and a support system of their own, Bloomin' Sweets did more than survive. You could say it bloomed.
We wanted to have this going better for Mom when she got back and give it back to her. And we got involved in Business Network International, and it's designed to help businesses build your small business and get more customers through a word-of-mouth basis.
And I actually jumped into that program, and I'm now the vice president of that company, or that program, and learned through that it can be done.
My sister rocked in it. She went out and got the business, and she did awesome.
Were you surprised when it worked?
Yeah. I mean, not totally surprised because people, you know, hey, this will work, but the fact that we did it, we worked together, helped each other, and the fact that we're 19 and 21 doing this was awesome. It felt good to have an accomplishment like that, especially to give to your parents.
I tell everybody I should have left sooner and stayed gone longer because they did better than I was doing.
Not everyone faces financial fallout when activated into military service. Depending on rank and family situation, activation pay can be quite adequate. For those with lower-paying civilian jobs, activation pay is an improvement, but the intangible cost of serving can be high.
I was lucky to be where I could see my family on a regular basis, and I really sympathize with those who missed out on the birth of children, or you know, infants growing up and being completely different children when they come back. I mean, I just can't imagine how hard that is.
It's hard, but you take each day as it comes. You know, you gotta take it one day at a time, one step at a time. So I'm getting emotional now. So, yeah.
Heather Farringer was worried her young children would forget their father while he was in the Persian Gulf. But with the right kind of support, even young memories can be kept intact.
My husband heard about a program called United Through Reading, and what it is they videotape a parent reading a story to a child on video, and then they convert it from like a disc to a CD or a DVD, and the service member can send it home to the family member. You just pop it in and watch it.
Daddy will read Toy Story. Sheriff Woody faces famous outlaw bank robber Black Bart.
They're wonderful because with my husband, we sent a bunch of books with him. So he was able to actually send the books that he read back with us. So they'll sit there and they'll follow along in the books with them.
United Through Reading is sponsored by Target. This is one case of a corporation helping children in military families. And that's not all.
The people we have running the city now are doing a good job, and they take care of the people that are activated.
Support can come from employers as well. Lawton Police Chief Ronnie Smith has officers in military service. He takes a personal interest in his citizen soldiers.
They're good people, they're hard-working people when they're here, and they're in harm's way right now, and it worries me, just like if it was my own son over there. I worry about them.
And that worry extends to soldiers' families.
If they call us, they need something, we help. We keep in touch with some of them.
There may be extra support out there, but the military isn't leaving its families to depend on the kindness of strangers. After seeing high divorce rates among soldiers and officers in 2004, the military spent $2 million on family support programs in 2005. The Guard's Family Readiness Program personnel do not wait for families to call. They go on the offensive, contacting families first. At any given time, that can encompass 1,000 to 2,000 family units.
If the family gets involved with the family readiness group, they're usually pretty satisfied. Probably most of the complaints we get is families will complain that they were not aware or not aware of some information, and so we try to educate and share that information. And so the biggest challenge that I have is getting the information out to the families.
They have a reserve support system, I can't remember what it's called, but they would call every couple of weeks and say, hey, do you need anything, and do you need to just talk, and what's going on and things. But We relied mostly on our family. We are a close-knit group. We rely on each other in that we didn't have to have a lot of outside help, thank the Lord. We were able to take care of ourselves and save that help for the soldiers that needed it.
And there are many who do. As much as the military tries to meet family needs, some families fall through the cracks. Oklahoma Representative Wade Rousselot worked to fill that gap.
We have a National Guard that has been called up more than any other guard in the nation since back in the Korean conflict and in every conflict since. And we have folks that are trying to work for a living and they get called up to active duty. So right away, there's no more paycheck from that job. And they're taken off the National Guard state payroll and put on the United States, the federal payroll. Well, we found that some of the guys and gals, as they were called up and in that transition period, some of them were going 90 days without a paycheck from the federal government. It's just because of the red tape. And so we wanted to establish a fund that, to say pay some bills back home, they could submit a claim to the military department and perhaps have some assistance in paying their bills until that check they're supposed to be getting comes in. And we established the fund. It is going to be funded starting this year in 2006 by our tax refunds. It's not appropriated out of general revenue or any special money from the legislature or from the Treasury. And I want to step up. If I have a tax refund, you can check off the box that'll be on your refund form for $1. You can give up to the total amount of your refund. If you don't have a refund coming, you can give to this fund. So I am encouraging all my fellow legislators, give at least part of your refund if you can, if you have one. And I've talked to my wife, and she's going to let me give too.
Rousselot's bill was part of a larger initiative to help military families. It's called Operation Homefront. Two other components of that measure would authorize the purchase of a $250,000 life insurance policy for every member of the Oklahoma National Guard. The second component would increase the military retirement income tax exemption from $7,500 to $10,000, or half of all military retirement income.
When people talk about the sacrifices soldiers make, do you think people who are not in the military, understand all that entails?
I think some do. I think some people are very appreciative and grateful. And then I think there are others that are kind of cynical about it. They take an attitude like, well, you knew what you were getting into, you know, that's your problem, which, you know, I think is really insensitive because, you know, but for the people who are willing to serve, you couldn't enjoy all the things that you enjoy in your life where you don't serve.
Shame on anybody to say they should have been financially ready, because they're always, they knew the possibility was there, even though they didn't want to think about it, they'd be called up. They're doing something while we're back here safe and sound at home and our life's not been interrupted. So I say that if we can't help the folks that are going to sign up and put that uniform on, knowing that someday they might get called up, and like I said, we don't want to think about the worst case scenario, but I think we should do anything we can back here to support them and their families while they're gone.
And these days, families must deal with more than lack of support. Some have to face unveiled hatred from protesters who picket soldiers' funerals.
Can't stand them. So.
Why?
Sorry. Because we have families like us that have to deal with deployments. And I know a lot of people that have like their first child and stuff while their families are on deployments, and fathers don't get to be there and kind of thing, and it's hard.
I think that regardless of what people think or what they believe is right over there, they need to support our troops. Don't tell somebody who has a family member or a loved one or just somebody they know over in Iraq or even in the military, don't down the military to them. Don't. It is what they do, what they signed up to do. It is what they believe in. And if you down that, you're downing their whole belief system. I think that if we weren't in Iraq, we may have a lot more attacks here at home on our soil.
I appreciate the ones that join up and with the possibility of going overseas, and the ones that have gone, my heart's with them, and my prayers are with them too, that we bring as many back as possible. And the families that are still here, if there's anything more that we can do, if they would contact us in the legislature, if there's something that we've forgotten, something we've missed, then we'll work on that, because we appreciate them giving up their loved one to fight for freedom in a faraway place. And it's not just for freedom for that country or those countries. It's keeping the terrorist heads down over there so we don't have another terror attack on our home soil. So I say thank you to the families for their sacrifice.
Since we began work on this program, Sergeant Martha Hendrickson has resumed running her own business. Daughter Laura is back in school and continuing to help out. Daughter Kelli is back to being a mom and preschool teacher. Martha's husband is still overseas. Captain John Vittitow continues to rebuild his Norman law practice and is spending time with his 2 daughters. Petty Officer First Class Jack Farringer has finished his deployment. His family has moved from Broken Arrow back to Virginia. These days, Jack Sr. is reading to the kids in person. Sonia Brumfield is now working full-time for the Oklahoma National Guard's Family Readiness Program, helping others man the battles of Operation Homefront.
For a VHS or DVD copy of this program, please send a check or money order for $22.95 to the OETA Foundation, Post Office Box 14190, Oklahoma City 73113. Or to place a credit card order, call 800-879-6382 during regular business hours.